Alright everyone, the Satanic Temple took out their Satan statue, which is really Baphomet, but that's what a lot of people think it is. And they had it on like a flatbed truck and drove it out in front of the State House there in Little Rock for a few hours so people could gaze on the visage of Baphomet and worship at the altar of the devil. Or at least that's what the protesting Christians thought. In real terms, though, let me weigh in with my own opinion, and also first as an aside. These Satanists from the Satanic Temple are atheists. They're atheists who are interested in a surprisingly libertarian-esque, left libertarian I would say, political activism for religious liberty. Here's my opinion. If one group can have a Ten Commandments monument or whatever up, other groups should be able to put up their religious iconography. Now in Little Rock there, I believe what they ended up doing was removing the Commandments monument. Someone drove into it with their car when it was reinstalled and destroyed it, actually. I'm not sure. Did they replace it or have they taken it down? I think they took it down, or it was declared unconstitutional, but it's on stay pending like a final decision by a higher court. I think one of those two is the case. Here's what I think. I don't care if you put up your Christian monuments. I don't care if you have 100 of them. And by the way, like, yeah, the majority of people in fucking Arkansas are Christians, so it's like when in Rome or something like that. Who cares? I say this as a non-Christian, as a pagan and an occultist who looks at the history of Christianity and sees mostly death and terror. I still don't give a fuck if you put a cross up. It's not, I see people out with crosses on, I'm like, do I get all bent out of shape, say, oh my God, clutch my pearls like a moralist and say, that offends me, you shouldn't have the right to do it? No, I don't care. What about manger scenes? Oh, yeah, fuck, around Yuletime. There aren't a lot of Odin celebrations around Yuletide, but there are a lot of Jesuses around, but it's basically the same fucking thing anyway, both hanging on a tree for the sake of enlightenment or whatever. Here's what I would say as well, and people need to understand this. Baphomet, the goat-headed god pointing up and down at the same time, that's an old pagan symbol. It has nothing to do with the post-60s Anton LaVey Satanism other than that iconography was borrowed because it literally is a stand and a symbol of wisdom. It's a hermetic symbol too, as above, so below, in the most literal sense. It's a fusion of the spiritual above, the earthly below, a statement about natural law and about, basically occult forces, in the most strict and pure sense, the occult. It has nothing to do with devil worship. Devil worship in the postmodern sense of someone spinning an Iron Maiden record backward and cutting a cat's head off is the most unenlightened thing I could possibly imagine. You talk about Gothic culture or something. People conflate that with Satanism too, although it doesn't really cross over. Meanwhile, they're all wearing like crucifixes and things like that. So yes, it's very spooky. Very, very intimidating. Now, when I see a cross, I don't care. And what I would say is any group that wants to put religious icons on a state lawn or something, yeah, go ahead. Give them all their little spots. And they simply apply. And they're like, hey, we are recognized as a religious group. We're tax exempt in the religious sense, although, we can argue about that too. We want our little pedestal, and give them all like little 4-foot by 4-foot areas that are cordoned off by ropes, and they can all have their statues. I think statues and icons and stuff like that, by the way, are wonderful. They decorate. They're a form of decor. Right now we get a lot of these state houses. There's really nothing there except an open lawn and maybe some like little flower gardens. Why not have statues everywhere? Like it'll look like those... if you look at those like temple roads in ancient Greece and Rome, and there's like tombs and statues and all sorts of funerary offerings and everything everywhere. Why don't we have places like that? That'd be so cool. Have a nice cobbled road, and then by the sides you have these little areas where all these statues can be. Like you'll have the cross or the Jesus or whatever, the Ten Commandments. And then you'll have like a replica of the Kaaba over there, and then you'll have the flying spaghetti monster pasta strainer, and then atheists will come along and they'll say, okay, we're gonna have nothing there and we're gonna label it God because it doesn't exist, and stuff like that. And it'd be funny because it'll see how inventive they can be. Someone does it in stone, that one's in bronze. This is, the Wotanists show up and they've got a big wooden totem. That'd be cool. I think it would look awesome. Who fucking cares? It's similar to the debate online about free speech. Here's how. In the online world, we're going to get to the point where we're fundamentally either going to have free speech or we're just going to have restricted speech. The free speech would be the side of, hey, everyone should put their monuments in. The restricted side is nobody should be able to. Nobody can have nice things because people might be offended. I oppose that kind of thinking. I think that if someone's offended, they should screw themselves. If you're offended by what you hear on the radio, switch the channel. If you're offended by a YouTube page, block the person. If you're offended by somebody who messaged you on Gab, don't listen to them. Just fucking ignore them. And if you're offended by a religious icon, don't look at it. And your taxpayer funds, by the way, no, the taxpayer funds don't need to be used to maintain it. How do you fucking maintain a statue anyway? Oh yeah, once a year I have to dust it off. You know, maybe give it a scrubbing or something. Yes, it costs a whole fucking lot of money to do that. No, it doesn't. Stop worrying and making a mountain out of a molehill. This goes out usually to people who are irreligious, which is basically what I am. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. Usually you make yourself look stupid. It's the wrong hill to die upon, this particular battle. Most people, I think, don't have a problem with religious icons, except when it's out there religions or religion they happen not to like. But that's the whole point. Freedom of and from religion requires that people who you disagree with on deep spiritual issues, sometimes you're thinking it's literally life or death for the rest of eternity, they have the right to make their own religious decisions. I don't care if someone worships Jesus Christ. I think it's nuts. I don't believe in Jesus. I'm never going to turn to Jesus. But if that's what makes you happy, you have the right to worship Jesus. This is the United States. This is some fucking theocratic country. Likewise, if Christians have the right to have a cross or 10 commandments in a public square, that public square should be open to every other religion or the lack thereof as well. Any organized group that seeks to put something there, if they're willing to pay and maintain it themselves, go a fucking head. They should be able to do that. Look, they're taxpayers. What? You're not giving them equal access. That's unconstitutional. But it wouldn't be if they all have access. Now, of course, some people would say, well, you'll end up with like thousands of statues from people who are registered, the Church of Dave or something like that. And it's basically like he fucking sticks a candle on a wooden pedestal and says, fuck it, and never maintains it, and it's an eyesore. So, would you rather have that situation where a few people will game the system and it's not going to cost you anything? It's not really an inconvenience. It's like fucking who cares? Would you rather have that situation where occasionally you're going to get some troll religion that has like a pasta strain or a Discordian knot or something like that? Or would you rather have a situation where nobody can put anything up, nobody can enjoy themselves? It's the same as speech. Yeah, if you have total free speech, sometimes people are going to come along and say real off-the-wall fucking shit. They might say things that sound violent. They might say things that sound perverted. And so, I would rather have that situation because, look, someone might think that what I say is really fanatic and out there, and they shouldn't have the right to stop me from saying it any more than I should have the right to stop them. That's the whole point. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press. You know, legacy media comes out and defames people. I would rather have them be free to do that and I be free to attack them for defaming people than a situation in which we all basically lose out and the news is government run, bland and boring like over in the UK with the BBC being taxpayer funded to lie to people. I would much rather prefer too much liberty, which you can never really have. That's what I think. So yeah, I like this money and it looks cool anyway. It's a pagan symbol. Has nothing to do with Satan. Look, Baphomet and Satan are not the same thing. Edgy people like the Satanic Temple like to use it to shock you. It's great publicity. Fucking deal with it. No, if they wanted to be satanic, then they would take an inverted pentagram and put it up. That would be more of a truly satanic symbol. Instead, the only appearance of that is on Baphomet's little throne here. And even that, technically, you know, it's used as a symbolic representation of the goat's head or of the 5 elements in various forms. Wiccans just take it and then move it like, 70 degrees and they use the same fucking thing. Who fucking cares, dude? Get over it. It's a public place. Who cares? You get these Christians here, they're singing hymnals and stuff. Nobody attacked them. Nobody has a problem. They just ignored them. That's the proper way to go about it, by the way. Religious liberty is a very good thing. I like to live in a nation where Christians are able to say things that I think are off the wall. It makes things more interesting anyway. That's about all. Peace out.